We have finally reached the moment when the ladies of The View, Disney's ABC daytime talk show, have gone completely loco. This time, they're declaring that AOC represents the vast majority of Americans with her positions. And she's not left of center at all. No, she's mainstream. And beyond that, they don't have a clue how to fix anything. We're covering today why The View continues to put Disney in a major bind. We'll explain right now. Well, it's a dandy of a day, and we're coming to you from a studio in somewhere sunny USA, folks. Happy to have you, and hope you're happy to be here. We wouldn't want you anywhere else because we love spending time with you. It's an honor, it's a pleasure, and a privilege. Thank you, folks, for the responsibility, and we'll get right to it. You click the like button, and we'll explain what the latest is with the wacky local ladies of The View. All right, ladies and gentlemen, out of the Daily Mail from the UK, it says progressive ladies of The View left stumped on how to repair out-of-touch Democratic Party. And that's probably because the ABC Disney women of daytime, well, they're part and parcel of that party. And they don't really have anyone representing the other side. The women of The View were left stumped on Wednesday of last week when discussing how voters can reconnect with the Democratic Party. And one might say, well, why is that their job? Well, because it was their job, and it didn't work, but they're still working, so there we go. Looking for an answer, the most progressive panelists looked to an unlikely source in Alyssa Farah Griffin, their lone Republican co-host who abandoned the Republican Party and turned against Trump. Oh yeah, that's their best. What does the party have to do to reconnect with voters? Asked Whoopi Goldberg, who posed the question after Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's bid to become the Democratic chair of the House Oversight Committee failed. The position went to an older, more moderate candidate, House Democratic veteran Representative Jerry Connolly, sparking speculation between the five as to whether Democrats are actually listening to what voters want. Donald Trump's pronounced win over Kamala Harris was also likely fresh in their minds. As the floor opened up, all looked for guidance from the woman who worked as then president's special assistant for almost 2 years, leading her to appear startled before letting out a laugh. Why are you asking the Republican? The 35-year-old political strategist who was a Republican, then wasn't, now is again, said with a laugh. These rascally, crazy View ladies. You know what? Let's put them on the screen. We'll see what they had to say, folks, and then we'll give you our thoughts on Disney's spot of being stuck with these women. At the same time, Disney wants to moderate, but simply can't. Here we go.
Question. What does the party have to do to reconnect with voters?
Go ahead.
Oh, why are you asking the Republican? I think the Dems should start. I got thoughts, but I'll let you start.
I can start.
Look, young people were still the age group with the highest support for the Democratic candidate this year. So we can start there. I don't think that young people have necessarily left the Democratic Party. Yes, there have been some gains made by the Republican Party, but by and large, young people are voting democratically. The other thing that I will say is about AOC, she has been demonized by the right. And she's been demonized as this like too progressive, far left person.
Well, AOC is a Democratic socialist. I mean, okay.
I want to try to set the record straight, because if she is too progressive, then the Democrats really are going to lose the working class, because this is her platform.
Let's just pause here. Okay. So the bottom line here, panel, is we've got the ladies of The View, and their job essentially was, under Dana Walden, it appears to me, to help the Democratic candidate win. That didn't work. And now they're telling us how they think, despite them not getting it right in the first place, that they can get things right now. And their answer is, And now they're defending AOC as being not too progressive, despite the fact that she's part of the very few Democratic socialists in Congress. Like, she's part of the squad. And you've got Disney is funding this show. Disney, that wants to moderate, is paying these women to get on there and say, well, AOC's not too far left. That's where everybody in the country is. They're with AOC. And it's like, this is mind-blowing that they cannot just get this right. Why? Kevin, I'll start with you. Kevin, why can they not bring on a moderate? Where is a moderate? Can Disney not get a centrist to stick on this show for like 6 months?
Oh, I mean, I'm trying to be fair. Trying to be fair.
Unlike The View.
Oh, yes, unlike The View. When was the last time you saw a legitimate moderate? Like, we're talking old school Blue Dog Democrat. They are almost the way of the dinosaur. So all you really have is you have your AOCs who are very unabashed about being Democrat socialists, and then you have your Newsoms who are camera hungry and will say anything if he thinks it'll benefit him. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how contradictory it is. And then everybody else is either the one thing I would give the Democrat Party is that it always falls in line and does whoever is in charge tells them to say and or do. And that translates down to what happens in DC all the way down to what happens on TV. That's really why you can't find a moderate. Could you imagine you get a Democrat who goes on TV, and especially in The View, and they praise even a benign Trump policy? They will be eviscerated before they even finish their sentence. So why would you do it? Why would you go out there and actually destroy your career? There really is no room for moderation on this side as it exists right now.
And yet, it's intertwined with Disney. And Disney, they're in their best interest is to get away from being completely interconnected with one particular partisan viewpoint. I want to show you, Alan, this is how badly the media, the old guard media, is figuring this out. We're going to go back to November. I just want you, because this it humors me, and I think it will humor the viewer. Folks, by Dustin Rowles. Why did ratings for The View soar after the election but sink on MSNBC? Well, I know the answer to that. I think everybody knows the answer to that. But let's take a look at what the answer is, okay? All right, we're going to skip down, because we've all seen this before. We're going to skip down. It says, but how then does that explain why The View scored its highest ratings in a decade the day after the election? With over 4.4 million viewers tuning in, the show's weekly average soared to 3 million, leaving its competitors like The Today Show and The Talk far behind. Here's the assessment. Why? Although I didn't watch the episode, I suspect The View offered something different. Less about blame and analysis, more about shared experience and empathy. The mainstream media's rush to perform an election autopsy felt like a tone-deaf reminder of news as a commercial enterprise, doing exactly what it always does, even when this wasn't a typical election. In contrast, The View seemed to pause, stepping in as America's support group. The panel, Whoopi, Sarah, Sunny, Anna, Joy, and Alyssa, likely voiced the fears and concerns that so many were grappling with. That's not it at all. Alan, people tuned in because they were mocking them, because it was funny to watch them cope. That's why the ratings soared. It was hilarious.
Yeah, no, when Trump was declared the winner, I think everyone was saying, we got to see what's going to happen on The View the next day and watch this impending explosion or implosion of these ladies. That's why they had the greatest ratings they've had in a very long time. And when they finally exploded, it was, okay, we got it. And then they moved on and their ratings dropped again. In terms of what they're saying, how do you fix the Democratic Party? This is the problem they run into. Look, if I have a leaky pipe and it's sprouting water and my floor is getting flooded, well, obviously it's because of climate change. And so if I go out and I solve climate change, then my pipes won't leak anymore. That's essentially what's going on here, is their refusal to accept what is really wrong with the party, to take a deep, honest, hard look at themselves and say what is wrong. That's what's happening with Lindy Lee, who is one of the top Democrat fundraisers. She's the one who put on Geeks for Harris. And she after the loss, the veil was lifted and she realized that she was duped and that there's serious problems going on with the Democratic Party. And what do? They outcast her. So,
By the way, Alan, this is why Mark Hamill left social media, is because at least even Mark Hamill realized that the only thing he was doing on social media with all of his vitriolic posts was giving those who disagree with him, the vast majority of Americans, the opportunity to laugh at him because he's crazy. But the View ladies haven't figured out that they're crazy, and the media hasn't figured out they're crazy. And Disney has got to be looking for a way to uncrazy this.
Yeah. Well, what I thought was interesting was the question was why does Democrats have the perception of being out of touch? Well, because the right is going after AOC and saying that she's too progressive. Well, no, the reason the Democrats are out of touch is because they're out of touch.
Yeah.
They don't understand. They don't understand the people that they're trying to attract. They've leaned into the progressive far left, and they're trying to kowtow to them, realizing that they're leaving everyone else behind. And again, that's where the Lindy Lee situation comes in, because she's still, she said on Piers Morgan, women are women, men should not be in women's sports, and she said a bunch of other things that just made common sense, but they cast her out because she takes those positions.
Well, George Clooney is not having a very good time either. I'll tell you that. Alan, but you've heard, and I've heard, and I make an assumption there, so you correct me if I'm wrong, that Disney is attempting to moderate and move to the center in a lot of different divisions within the company right now.
In certain divisions, yes.
Right. So I don't know how successful that's going to be, but they've got a real problem with The View and with ABC because they've filled their ranks with people who are rankly opposed to being moved to a middle or to a center, and Disney needs that. And by the way, advertisers eventually are going to get tired of this. They don't want to be associated with people who are out on what is now perceived to be a fringe. It's funny to me to watch, by the way, Chink Uger of the Young Turks showing up at Turning Point USA, and it really gives you the feeling of the momentum that's happening in America, whether that's right or wrong, or whether conservatives should be welcome. That's a different channel with different content than what we do here. But I'm noticing it and saying, what's Disney thinking about The View as they watch the Young Turks switch to conservatism? I mean, my gosh.
This is the problem with Disney. They can't. Well, this is the problem with not only Disney, but a lot of these companies, and especially politicians, is they cannot ever admit they were ever wrong. Because the moment you admit you were wrong, your political career is done.
Yep.
And so what Disney is doing is it's just making changes under the sheets, and and doing it slowly, but they will never ever admit that the last 4 years they screwed up.
Absolutely. Vash, do you have something that you want to put on the screen? Is that what I'm seeing?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say that the only person who's really been able to navigate the waters of mainstream media while happening to be, I don't know, contrarian even in the slightest is Scott Jennings on CNN. He's like the only guy. Everybody else is completely ideologically captured like the Walt Disney Company is right now. But Scott Jennings is the only person that I've ever seen really kind of break through and show up on, conservative Twitter or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure, but that's the thing, is you have to have somebody who's really capable of doing that and really kind of dancing the line when it comes to staying on these large platforms like The View or any of these other shows that have these political or celebrity pundits, but lean one direction. And you're having contrarian sit alongside them. You, as that person, you have to really do that dance. I just don't think a lot of people are capable of doing that, or even want to do that. We could have some people on The View who have different views than what they espouse simply because they want to retain their jobs. So that's the thing is that, and Alan has pointed this out so beautifully in his Film Threat articles, the D-Files. Disney has pushed out a lot of people who could have provided that place of refuge for the center, or people who weren't so ideologically captured, right? And now you're just left with people who are so on one side that really nothing else can really blossom under such a regime there. So it's troubling, and I don't really think the Walt Disney Company is really capable of making this shift internally. They might be too far gone.
But by the way,
if
folks,
something doesn't really change.
This is why we heavily recommend that you go to Film Threat and read the D-files so that you can understand how Disney put themselves in a position where they have people who are they're just nuts. And, I read a thing the other day, somebody sent it my way, they thought it was funny, where this channel, the Pro Channel, was called, ultra conservative or something along those lines. And I thought, yes, we, part of one of our slogans is bringing Holly Weird back to the mainstream middle, the sensible center where money is made. Like, that is now ultra conservative to be like, hey, how about the middle? You want to try the middle? The middle's really cool. You should do the middle. Middle makes money. Anyway, that's where we are. Disney should be doing what we've been saying for them to do, and they are starting to. We'll see if they can continue and if they can fix the view. I have my doubts when it comes to that one. Good night, game over, drive home safely. Folks, this video is done. But before we all head home, we only ask one thing. Folks, as you get ready to head on out, consider clicking that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below and share your thoughts, for a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Waste not that beautiful personality of yours. And folks, we would say as you get ready to head out the door, that it has been an honor to spend time with you, an attitude of gratitude each and every time that you elect to join together with us. Breaking bread and breaking entertainment, well, the industry. No, we like entertainment. It's the industry that irks us sometimes. Well, it was a good time. We hope you had a good time. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.